I consider this my David Lynchian song. I'm a reject, you're a reject. I'm a reject, oh, oh, oh. I'm a reject, you're a reject. I'm a reject, oh, oh, oh. I consider this my David Lynchian song. Usually when I write a song, I come up with what the song is about first. So throughout the entire song, I understand the main point I'm making, like the chorus, and I'm creating supporting points in the verses. This is how most people make art. They begin with the intention and meaning, and then they make the art hold to that meaning throughout the process of making that film, song, or book. Now, this is not how David Lynch makes art. He is first and foremost a visual artist, and visual art usually is more open to the subconscious on the canvas. Meaning can be random and elusive. Lynch starts with the subconscious in the driver's seat, and only later does he string it together to make sense for the audience. This is something I think he is very good at, despite many people's criticism that his movies are difficult to understand. Now that's how I wrote this song, in the Lynchian way. I let the words flow. They all came from somewhere. My fears in early marriage, my teenage summers, my process away from evangelicalism. I found myself finding a way to thread the lines into a meaning, like Lynch does when he doesn't want his movie audiences to hate him. But I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. The medium of music doesn't demand a clear meaning, and it would be all made up anyways. But I thought maybe I'd talk about one line and where that came from in my personal history, and the rest I just leave up to people's interpretation. The Zealots sang their songs, the ones I learned in Vermilion. The nights we laughed so hard, I thought the tension would break us.
Slip on your sweater and strap on your boots. Will you brave the cold, cold winter? It's so...
I was a teenager during the Christian youth movement of the late 90s in Alberta. It was influenced by the rise of the charismatic movement, but was really its own thing. It was marked by massive youth conferences and Christian music festivals that catered as getaways for large youth groups across the nation. But the thing that most marked the movement was the idea of being on fire, having a strong spiritual zeal, and importantly, being more zealous than the parents who gave us the faith were in the first place. We were set to be louder in our faith, maybe arrogant, more outspoken, more abstaining, more preachy, and more wild in our faith than our parents had been. There was something really punk rock about it. It was underground and it felt like fighting against the world. A couple instances I remember is being at a food court on our way to a youth conference. There were about 1,000 other people there, most of them also attending the conference. We started chanting across the food court, "I love Jesus, yes I do. I love Jesus, how about you?" And then you'd point to the people on the other side of the food court, and then they'd jump up, and then they'd yell the whole thing back to you and point at you. And we went back and forth like this a couple times. And I remember seeing, people that we would call non-Christians in the crowd who had no idea what was going on. I loved it. I loved being part of a counterculture that sometimes took center stage. Another instance of zeal without restraint was when a couple of my friends and I followed an ambulance to the highway to the site of a head-on collision. We got out and prayed and sang and danced on the highway, asking God to heal the people. When the family of the victims showed up, we didn't even slow down. And when everyone survived, even after one was airlifted out, we felt completely justified. Every kid during this movement had a youth group, a ministry at a local church where teenagers would spend their Friday night activity, a Wednesday night Bible study, and the occasional weekend trip away. My youth group was in Vermilion, Alberta, and while I had lots of youth group friends, the ones that became my very best friends and the closet loves of my life were a group of 4 girls that called themselves Back. Brittany, Andrea, Kaylee, Kelsey. There was also a Nicole. She felt pretty bad about being left out of the whole abbreviation thing. We spent a lot of late nights talking and laughing. I always felt that I was Teddy and they were the March girls. I even had it in my mind who was who. Underneath our friendship was that tension of love. We held it there for years. I was convinced at the time that I would end up marrying one of them. I was worried that making anything real would ruin it, and I kind of liked the tension. Kaylee and I dated for a while and had a pretty bad breakup. And when Brittany got engaged, her parents' first response to the news was thanking God it wasn't me. I think Andrea gave me an opening at one time, but I didn't take it. I wasn't sure. And Kelsey and I remained totally platonic through the years. Today we all live in different cities and different places. Brittany moved to Dallas so her husband could go to seminary. We talk on Facebook sometimes. Andrea helped me make a movie last summer. She just got her law degree. Kaylee hates me now, but from the looks of things on Google, she's doing some pretty cool stuff. And Kelsey runs a small town newspaper. We chat from time to time. Right? If someone freaks out on you and says, do this, do you want to do it? No. Exactly, so don't do it to him.
When I met you at the bank, you were barely breathing. You always said you had a penchant for treason. Those nights you curled your hair, it wasn't him you were thinking. Day in daydream light, while all your friends were out drinking. And don't you know that all we know isn't solid gold, it just rims around the edges. Don't you know that all we know isn't solid gold, it just rims around the edges. When I met you in the woods, I thought that you were familiar. The zealots sang their songs, the ones we learned in Vermilion. The nights we laughed so hard, I thought the tension might break us. Dad will figure it out some night when it comes home from Vegas. And don't you know that all we know isn't solid gold, it just rims around the edges. Don't you know that all we know isn't solid gold, it just rims around the edges.
You said
I'll take back some, but not all of it.
take back what you said.
You have all that my conscience will allow me.
Take back what you said.